So Papa was a choir director and pianist at our church.
Yeah.
And it was the year end in June. There was a potluck for the choir. And so we went to this potluck and we got there. And 10 minutes after we got there, we found you at the bottom of the pool. Yeah, that quick, right?
Yeah.
All three of us, your brother and your dad and me, we all dived down trying to reach you and couldn't. And somebody else managed to and did CPR, and 4 minutes later the ambulance arrived and you were dead on the side of the pool, and your dad stood right beside you going, he's gonna be all right, he's gonna be all right, he's gonna be all right. And I was thinking to myself, he's dead, he's dead, he's dead. I figured that they would just say dead on arrival when we got to the hospital, right? They kept working on you, and eventually we managed to resuscitate you, but you went 30 minutes without a pulse, so that was a long time to go without oxygen.
Yeah.
So that was the accident.
Yeah.
We had a lot of medical people that usually talked to Brian because they thought that his dad was more approachable, I think. And so they'd talk to Brian and they'd tell him things like, we should consider putting Kyle in a home, which Brian never broached that one with me until many moons later when I couldn't lay my hands on the people that had said it. Because as far as I was concerned, he had a home. So why would we want to put him in a home somewhere away from us? So as far as I was concerned, my biggest job was to keep doors open. He was never the problem, society was the problem. So the way society saw his life was to be in a special school somewhere, to be in a wheelchair, to be tube fed. Some of them basically gave us the picture that he'd be in a wheelchair forever and not able to communicate, not able to talk in any way or do much of anything. They just kept telling me that he wasn't capable of communicating, except one day we're sitting at the breakfast table and I'm having toast and he starts doing the sign for beavers, which was sharing, sharing, right? And I'm going, what about beavers? And he's looking at me like, gosh, you are slow. and I'm looking, going, okay, I didn't get that right. So then I put out a bunch of other things, and finally I got to the sharing thing that they yell and scream at the beginning of each beavers meeting. And I said, you want to share? And he kind of got this look of excitement on his face, like, wow, you finally got it. And you want to share my toast? Yeah, you know. And he goes, you finally got it. And I realized then that we just needed to listen to him, not the professionals. We needed to listen to him about what he wanted in his life. And if we could listen and find ways to hear what he was saying, then we could help him get what he wanted. School?
Yeah.
Okay, so school. He wanted to be with his friends in school, so that was the goal there. It wasn't that he would graduate with honors from grade 12. It was that he would graduate with a good feeling of worth, that he would have experienced all of the things that every normal, so-called normal child experiences. Naively, I just assumed that he would go to the same school that his brother was going to, just down the road from us. He was in a wheelchair at the time, couldn't walk, so I wheeled him down to the school and we went in to the office, the school office, and asked to talk to the principal. And he came out and I just said, yeah, I just thought I'd pop by and meet with you a little bit and start the process rolling for him coming to school in September. And the poor man literally jumped back 2 feet and kept saying, I can't talk to you about this, I can't talk to you about this, you have to talk to the superintendent. The superintendent phoned me, I think, and basically said that they didn't take children those kind of children, I think was her phrase.
Yeah.
And see, I couldn't quite understand what they meant by those kind of children, because he was the same kid that he was before the accident, except came with a wheelchair now. But he was the same kid and he had the same needs, and so I really wasn't quite sure what she meant. I thought I was going crazy, like, because was I the only person that thought that this was a normal thing to want for your child, to just go to school at the local neighborhood school? Long story short, we managed to get him into a school in the district, but not the same school as Reese. But we sold our house and we moved into Edmonton and got him into a school where they did want him.
Yeah.
And lots of people that accepted you for just who you were.
Yep.
In fact, you're going to be best man for one of those guys, right?
Yep.
Because you became best friends with him, and even when he moved away, you stayed best friends.
Yep.
But when I talked to him recently, he said that it was a no-brainer to figure out who his best man should be, because you were his best friend always and always will be.
Yep.
And that came from school,
Yep.
being in a regular class
Yep.
at school,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
You had good friends in Scouts
Yep.
that believed that you could do the same as everybody else. Your first boss really
Yep.
believed in you,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
She gave you a job in the kitchen, and she made sure that you knew that you were really needed, and that without you, she wouldn't be able to get her job done properly.
Yeah.
We love each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, we sure do.
Yeah.
We've gone through a lot of tough times with illnesses and accidents, and you dying was not one of the easiest times, was it?
Yeah.
No.
Yep.
I've come to realize over the years, I mean, it's taken a lot of therapy
Yep.
and a lot of searching and stuff, but I've come to realize that over the years that if I'm really happy that I have Kyle, which there is absolutely no doubt that I am happy that I have Kyle, then I negate all of that by feeling guilty and badly about what's happened in our life to get us to this point. I've always had a dream that he would find somebody that was worthy of him.
Yeah.
Somebody that would treasure him and love him. As far as having children, and you haven't asked this question yet, but there's a lot involved in getting married and in being a partner. I think that he could be a really good partner to somebody. And I honestly believe he could be a really good dad to somebody. But whether society is ready to give him that opportunity and the supports required is a whole different picture. I'm terrified if he had a child, how that child would be treated in the world. Because not everybody. It's not just government that might not think that he's a decent parent. It's other parents in community. It's the peers of the children that he would have that went to school with them. Those things terrify me because I can't stand it if people hurt him. And I know that if they hurt his child, it would hurt him.
Yeah.
And if they hurt the child because the child had him as a dad, I don't know how he'd deal with that. And I don't know how I would deal with that. Those things terrify me. I have all of these imaginary visions of what his life would have been like or could have been like if he hadn't have had the accident and had disabilities. And they might not have been anything like that. He could have ended up to be a real jerk, you know. So, whereas what I have as a son is this incredibly intelligent, wonderful,
Yeah.
caring and loving man. And I couldn't wish for a better son.